Britney Spears tells a court in Los Angeles she's depressed, traumatized and wants her life back as she tries to end a 13-year legal arrangement that puts her father in control of her life. The conservatorship was put in place after the 39-year-old singer suffered a breakdown. Russia says it's fired warning shots at a British warship, claiming it entered its waters near Crimea without permission. More than 20 Russian aircraft and 2 Coast Guard ships shadowed the HMS Defender, which the UK says was in international waters. The tech pioneer John McAfee, the man behind the McAfee antivirus software, has been found dead in the prison where he was being held in Spain. It comes hours after Spanish courts approved his extradition to the United States to face tax evasion. Those are the headlines.
Officials of Hong Kong's pro-democracy Apple Daily say the newspaper will close Thursday following the arrest of company officials and a financial freeze by police. A top Russian military leader sharply criticizes the deployment of NATO warships near Russian waters during an international security conference in Moscow. The U.S. government took down 36 websites linked to Iran Tuesday for violating international restrictions and involvement in disinformation efforts. And 1 month before the Tokyo Summer Olympics, hundreds of demonstrators in the capital call for the event's cancellation.
In exactly 1 month, the world's top athletes will celebrate the opening of the Tokyo Games. But before that happens, Olympic organizers have a lot of work to do. They've just announced the latest guidelines for keeping fans, athletes, and residents safe from the coronavirus. The IOC's top point man for the Games visited the gymnastics venue on Wednesday to see those measures in action. John Coates will tour more areas in the coming days. Domestic ticket holders also got a glimpse of their future. They'll be able to cheer quietly from stands no more than half full. New guidelines mean they must wear masks at all times and tone down celebrations. That means no hugs, no high fives, and no alcohol. After events, they're urged to go straight home. Governors of neighboring prefectures say any competitions held in their areas after 9 p.m. should not allow spectators. Still, more than 80,000 spectators could gather in Tokyo's waterfront area over the course of a single day.
If a lot of spectators go shopping around here, I may be hesitant about doing so myself.
I want the games to be held, but I'm still a little bit afraid.
I'm looking forward to the Olympics. I want the athletes to do their best.
This man in Western Japan bought 4 tickets for a men's basketball match, but now he's hesitant about traveling with his family.
It's like risking our lives to go watch a once-in-a-lifetime event. Whatever I decide, I'll never be 100% happy. That's painful.
Athletes gearing up to compete in the Games are trying to refocus after a tumultuous 1-year postponement.
The Olympics are likely to be held under challenging circumstances, but I want to stand on the court and play to the best of my ability. I want to make the next month count.
Foreign athletes are continuing to arrive in Japan, where they're subject to strict anti-virus measures. A second member of the Olympic team from Uganda has been confirmed infected after testing negative at the airport on Sunday. The entire group has been in quarantine since a member of the delegation tested positive upon arrival in Japan. Tokyo's tally of coronavirus cases on Wednesday surpassed 600 for the first time in nearly a month. It was also the 4th day in a row the number has been higher than a week before. There were 618 new cases Wednesday, up 118 from a week before. The health minister warns the outbreak could be headed for a resurgence.
The number of cases in Tokyo is up from a week earlier. There were signs of a resurgence, even when the state of emergency was in place. So I'm very concerned.
Experts advising the health ministry say the number of new cases nationwide in the week through Tuesday was down 16%. The panel says the Delta variant, first identified in India, now accounts for about 3% of cases. They warn it's highly transmissible and could cause half of cases by the middle of July. New cases reported across the country Wednesday came to 1,779. There were 58 deaths. The number of patients with severe symptoms stands at 646. Hong Kong's pro-democracy newspaper will put out its last edition on Thursday. The Apple Daily had its assets frozen for allegedly violating China's national security law. It says that makes it impossible to continue financially, so the Thursday morning print edition will be the last. The online edition will also end. A lead editorial writer at the paper has been arrested on suspicion of violating the same national security law. Last week, 5 of its executives were arrested. Police say the writer used the paper to call for sanctions on the Chinese and Hong Kong governments. They also suspect him of endangering national security by colluding with foreign forces. The Apple Daily has been a symbol of the freedom of speech guaranteed in Hong Kong since the handover from Britain in 1997. The Indian government has announced more than 50,000 new cases of the coronavirus. That makes it the second country behind the United States to pass the 30 million mark. India saw an explosive surge in infections last month, partly fueled by the spread of the Delta variant. The daily tally of new cases topped 400,000, overwhelming the country's healthcare system. But new infections have since been on a decline as a result of strict lockdown measures. Since last week, people visiting bars and restaurants in New Delhi have been allowed to eat and drink indoors. But the vaccine rollout remains slow. The government plans to speed up the rollout by securing more vaccines and offering free shots. More than 390,000 Indians have died from the virus. In the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte's warning earlier this week that anyone who refuses to get inoculated would be imprisoned has sparked controversy. In a televised speech on Monday, Duterte said that he'll have the heads of all local governments report people who refuse to be vaccinated. People in Manila have spoken out against the president's address.
I don't think arrests should be allowed. Those people haven't committed any crime, so why should they be arrested?
With regards to the threat of arrests, I'm not in favor of that. It's too harsh. It's unjust. It isn't fair. I'm against it.
Health officials say only about 6% of the population has received their first shot, though the daily new infection tally remains high at around 3,600. A survey conducted by a local polling firm in March showed that about 61% of people had negative feelings about getting inoculated. Japan's Supreme Court has rejected a constitutional challenge to a law forcing married couples to have the same surname. It marks the second time the top court has upheld the 19th century law in recent years, and another disappointment for couples fighting for change.
Some may think marriage means sharing a surname, but I want a society that also acknowledges different values.
3 common law couples brought cases against sections of the Civil Code in 2018. They demanded authorities register their marriages despite refusing to change their last names. Lawyers claimed the family register law and related codes violated rights guaranteed by the Constitution. While the law does not dictate which spouse must change their name, it overwhelmingly affects women. The cases were dismissed by lower courts. Presiding Justice Otani Naoto said the court took into account that Public views have shifted since the 2015 challenge, but did not change its view on the legality of the provision. He said legal arguments should be separate from political discussions, and the Diet should make those decisions. The Justice Minister says the law will remain under the spotlight.
We will keep a close eye on a wide range of public opinion, as well as on discussions in the Diet. We will continue to consider the law.
The Justice Ministry says Japan is the only country it knows of where married couples are forced to have the same surname. A UN committee on the elimination of discrimination against women has advised Japan's government to revise the law on 3 previous occasions. An aging nuclear power reactor in central Japan is online for the first time in about a decade. The reactor at Mihama Nuclear Power Plant was first put into operation 44 years ago. It was shut down after the 2011 nuclear disaster at the Fukushima Daiichi plant. Japanese law has since limited the life of reactors to 40 years with some exceptions. A reactor's operational life can be extended to no more than 60 years, provided it passes a screening by Japan's nuclear regulator. The Mihama plant did just that 5 years ago. Once Fukui Prefecture gave its approval earlier this year, operator Kansai Electric Power began preparations. More than twice the usual number of workers were there to see the reactor fired up once again. Municipal and prefectural officials also monitored the restart. The plant's operator hopes it can begin generating power next week. It's time now for a check on world weather. Southern Quebec was hit by a strong tornado on Monday. A man has been killed with several others injured. Our meteorologist Sayaka Mori has the details.
A frontal system which caused several tornadoes in the United States this week also produced a twister in parts of Quebec. Take a look at this video coming out of southern Quebec. A tornado caught residents of a Quebec suburb by surprise on Monday. A man was killed. About 100 houses were damaged. Officials said the tornado traveled 3 kilometers and reached speeds of up to 220 kilometers per hour. Canada is the second most tornado-prone country in the world, following the United States. About 80 tornadoes are spotted every year in the country. The system is pulling away from Canada, but still lingering over the Gulf Coast, so more thunderstorms are expected. Now, another system will affect Canada, especially Ontario, with heavy rainfall. There are 3 spots of thunderstorms. One down here is the one I mentioned. Thunderstorms could cause flooding in the Gulf Coast, and also this one could cause some large hail as well as damaging winds over the Central Plains, over the Northern Plains and parts of the U.S. Midwest. And this one is a dry one. That means dry thunderstorms could ignite more wildfires in the western United States. And we could see record-breaking heat wave once again later this week. Seattle could see 36 on Saturday as well as Sunday. Sacramento could reach the 40-degree mark on Sunday. Meanwhile, we are seeing this system called Champy. This system is now a tropical storm. It could intensify to a severe tropical storm and then get close to Japan during the weekend and into early next week. Due to the interaction with the rainy season front, central Japan, including Tokyo, might see heavy rainfall, especially on Sunday as well as Monday. Record heat wave caused problems over parts of Eastern Europe. Moscow saw nearly 34 degrees on Tuesday. The excessive hot conditions will likely prolong for the next several days. That's it for me. Have a nice day.